Okay, I'd like to call the Historic Properties Commission meeting for August 24th, 2020 to order. It is 6:04 p.m. This is Kristen Heider, the chair of the meeting. And I do not believe we need to designate alternates tonight. Is that correct?
Looks like we're all.
I think everyone's here.
Yeah.
Okay, and so Jean kindly produced the July 27th meetings for us. If everyone wants to take a look through there, I sent you electronic copies of them. Oh, and just a reminder, housekeeping issue, when you, if you speak, please identify yourself for the purposes of the Zoom meeting, for the purposes of the record.
Okay, this is Tom Chase. I think these minutes look fine. I don't know if anyone has anybody else has any corrections.
I was not there, so I can't comment.
So if it looks good, can I have a motion to approve the meetings of Monday?
So moved, Kristen. This is Tom Chase. I move that we approve the minutes of the July 27th meeting.
And a second?
Now, I took the minutes. Should I second, or how do we do this, Kristen?
Can I second? I was there.
Sure, why not, Jean?
Your preference.
I will second that. All in favor? Kristen Heider seconds that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. I do not believe that we have anyone for public comment evening. No one has joined us. And I totally forgot to go to town hall today to check for correspondence. So unless someone else was there and picked something up, I have nothing to report on that front. And now moving on to old business. So I sent everyone this morning an Excel table and PDF copies of that table detailing the barns that Jean, the OSV barn survey, plus the additional buildings that were documented. It looks like between 2003 and 2010. Is that correct if I'm reading the photos?
I can't honestly tell you. I think we used 2007. There may have been some cleanup afterwards.
Okay.
I don't think we started as early as 2003.
Okay. Okay. So I have, you're not kidding, those photos are beautiful that you took of the barns.
Thank you.
So we have all
It
of
took
those.
time. It was an effort.
There was a particularly beautiful one with the sun setting and the gold cast across the facade of the building. It's just lovely. So I don't know that we'll be able to recapture that, but the interesting thing is, so with the properties that we had already assigned to field verify back in February, there were 91 properties that were assigned among us, or that I had at that time. When I added the additional ones in today, there's an additional 108 barns on the survey. And that is only the buildings that are still standing, or were still standing as of 2006. So there's still quite a few buildings to look at still, a few barns. I have not, Jean, you sent me I have your thumb drive with the photos on them, but I haven't received any other photographs or content from anyone else regarding the field survey for those barns, any other barns.
I have taken, for ones that I have looked at so far, I've taken some additional photos just as I was driving around.
Okay.
But I haven't submitted anything, and yeah.
So if I'm looking at the assigned properties, the ones that we assigned back in February, if anyone has any of those, if anyone has any photos that they have taken to confirm that the barn is still standing and any updated photographs of those barns, I started working on the master list today. I started working on property owners, current property ownership for these barns based on NECOG's GIS land assessments and vision appraisal. So I'm going to start getting all of that information together. And I can do some more work looking at Google Maps to see if things are still, obviously still standing. But I suppose what I'm most interested in, or what we should be most interested in, is anything that's not standing anymore from the 2006 survey.
This is Myron talking. I've looked at about a third of them. Haven't taken any photographs yet, but looked at about a third. There's a question about a couple on Converse Road, 730, 755. They were standing in 2006. I looked on the Google map and, you know, I see big roofs. I don't know whether they're modern barns or old barns, and it's way off the road, and I'm a little reluctant to drive in on a long driveway like that.
Right, right.
Myron, I drove up there too, because that was on a list that appeared to be unassigned, and that I started looking at. And I remember one of those barns was way off the road, and the people wanted to be very private about it.
Yeah, and the numbers are all different on Converse Road now. They renumbered the buildings.
I was, that one buffaloed me. Yep.
But luckily, MapQuest still has the old numbers. When you type in the address, it still shows you where it is. But otherwise, I drove back and forth on it a couple of times. There's no 700 numbers on this road.
Yeah, I did too. We might have passed each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I resorted to looking at the, this is Kristen, the OSV map, where because any of the buildings that had the associated OSV number, I took a look at first, just to make sure, and then went on to Google Maps that way and went to NECOG to see if I could figure out what was going on. Some of it is very complicated. And I don't know, sometimes I don't know if something's not there anymore or if I'm looking in the wrong place, which is the problem.
Yeah. In many cases, I think things are not there anymore.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
for example, I know of one on Route 198 that disappeared this year. There's one on 169 that disappeared a few years ago, partly reincarnated in East Woodstock, I understand.
Is that the one on Payne Road? The one that was, what was the name of the people? That big field across the road that had all the wall work done? Is that the barn that was taken down?
Yes,
Where
yes,
where the CSA is now in that farm?
right.
Yeah, that's number 66 Payne Road right now. Wait, hang on a second. I just wrote, I marked it here on the other thing. Hang on, I'll tell you what that is. Yeah, it's Payne Road, number 50 Payne Road.
And that's gone now?
No, that's there. It wasn't there when the survey was done. It was, oh, I'm sorry, 155 Payne Road. Excuse me, 155 Payne Road. That's where the barn was relocated from 169. What was the name of the family that owned that property?
I don't know. Stevenson was the guy who took it down, I think.
Yeah, gosh, I can't remember the name. Anyway.
I remember the guy who formerly owned that property was a member of the Historic District Commission, wasn't he, early on?
Really? I don't remember.
Yeah, nice man. And I can't tell you his name. I'm sorry.
Okay. So that's one, I wrote that into the Excel form, on my own Excel form here.
Okay.
155 Payne Road. and the barn was dismantled and then rebuilt on the site of that property.
On 169.
No, on
No.
Payne Road, on number 155 Payne Road.
It was on 169, Kristen.
Okay, I'm confused now. All right. So it's at 155 Payne Road now. What property was it? It wasn't
I don't
inventory?
know the name.
It was attached to the property that is now the Echo Farm or whatever,
Right. Okay, I see. Yep, I
but it was
understand.
across,
That was the old
across the road.
Healy farm, wasn't it?
It was Healy Farm,
I
and then
believe
somebody,
that was the old Healy farm.
I think you're right, Harold. And then, do you remember who lived there after the Healys?
No.
No.
It was an older couple,
Yes, yes.
and they're the ones who reconstructed the frontispiece of the door. They had Alvin Hill do that.
Yes, yes.
I can't remember their name. Anyway,
So in summary, the Echo Farm barn, what is now the Echo Farm, a barn on that property was relocated to 155 Payne Road or 55?
155, 155.
Okay,
And it was it used to be across the road from the house.
okay.
On 169. It was on
And
the,
that may not have the same number as Echo Farm now, in terms of, it probably doesn't even have a street number now. I don't know.
should for emergency purposes.
Yeah. I don't even know if there's a house way back in there or not.
No.
Do you, Harold?
No, I don't think. Oh, yet.
Yeah. There is not.
Yet. They've
Yeah.
done- They've really cared about the land. And the
Right.
wall.
It looks very nice up through that whole field.
Yeah, it does.
I
Is that
understand the
field
person who owns it is the one who built that tractor supply place that's at the end of Senexit Road, just before you hit 171.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Uh,
And he just was building the walls and playing with it, is what I was told. And he
Yeah.
did a beautiful job building the wall.
beautiful.
Oh, so
Right.
that, Dan and I have wondered about that for always, whether there was some sort of, like, are those ha-ha walls? What the heck is he doing there? But it's not for drainage, it's just for fun?
Yeah,
Huh.
that's what I was told.
That's what I sort of heard too, Myron, but,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and you know, the fields have been cleaned to the corners, put us to shame.
Yeah. Oh, it's a nice thing you did.
It's nice to drive by.
Yeah.
I miss the barn.
Yes.
And I miss, you know, 169 has lost a number of barns. They've lost one at the Sherman's farm, way up north, opposite Dodge Road. That barn was taken down and they're building a new building. It's a different sort of building.
Jean, that,
Yep.
I'm sorry, it's Kristen. That building, the barn on 169, I have a note on the table that says it's 218. I know the address won't necessarily make a difference. 169, and then it says in the comments, Lynn, now Sherman. Was that formerly owned by the Lynns and then owned by the Shermans?
Oh, no, that's in South Woodstock.
Okay, okay.
That's a Sherman that's down in South Woodstock. I'm talking about way up in North Woodstock, almost on the Southbridge border, opposite Dodge Road. There's a big Sherman dairy farm still in business
Okay.
on the right-hand side, and there was a large old barn there that has come down.
Do you remember when it came down?
Oh my goodness, within the last year or so, can somebody help me? Fairly recently,
probably at least two.
at least two, okay. But within the last few years would be fair to say?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, 1605. Route
That
1.
sounds better.
Yep, and it says Sherman on it. That must be the one. All right, so that's gone, huh?
That's gone. But there is a new building. I don't know if it could be considered a barn. I'm not sure. I don't think so. What do you think, Harold? You know these things.
I don't think it's a barn, no.
No. I mean, they have added new barns after what was the storm that, winter storm that took roofs off of barns and things. They revamped their modern barns.
And it was taken down. It didn't burn or get blown away in a tsunami. Okay,
Not that I know of.
okay. Okay, well, that's good. I can start piecing together. I think, well, here's another suggestion, you know, I can continue chipping away at this. If anyone has anyone knows of specific barns in addition to the ones we're talking about that are no longer on the landscape, send me that information with any information you might have about when it came down and how it came down, just so we have a sense of that for the record.
Okay.
Kristen, how do you want me to send you this information? Should I just send you this, what I filled in on the spreadsheet? And
Yeah, I can merge that with the current document.
Okay, okay.
Now, Kristen, I took a look at the unassigned pages,
Mhm.
and it looked to me as if there were 4 full pages and a little bit beyond. I would be glad to take a chunk of that.
Sure.
And suggest that I start with the first page because I've already I did a drive around survey, and I've looked at a good number of those. So
No, that sounds like a good idea. I will be, now that the boys are not going to be back in school again,
oh yeah,
well, Henry will be going back twice a week. The rest will be remote. Sam is not going back at all. It's all remote. Thanks in part, I believe, to the brilliant Woodstock students who went to New Hampshire and came back with COVID. So I have mentioned to them both that we will do another couple road trips like we did back in March and take photographs. Henry will be the scribe, Sam will take the photos. They loved it. It was really fun. And it's a great way to drive around town and just get, you know, a feel for where everything is.
yeah. Now, of the ones that are assigned, I wasn't at that meeting, so I didn't have anything assigned to me, but I started on the ones that were at the bottom of the list that were unassigned from the old Sturbridge list. But
Okay.
What if I were to take the first 2 pages of the unassigned
Okay,
and do that?
that sounds perfect.
Okay, and if I have information on other things, I will share that with you as well. So for example, the one on 198, I know it's gone, I know where it was, but that may not be on my list. So I'll do the first 2 pages.
Okay.
On the second page is 20 Dr. Pike Road, which is Dawn's house, and I'm looking out the window and the barn is still standing.
Good. And is Dawn still standing?
And Dawn is still standing. And 24 Hibbard Road, down about the middle of the page on page 2.
That looks standing.
Still standing, yes.
Yeah.
Hibbard Road, okay.
Yeah, I just drove by that one today, so that's still standing.
Yep,
You said 24 Hibbard Road?
24, yes.
24.
That's an interesting barn because it was built as an English barn and then was converted to a New England barn by the addition of a long bay along one side. And they reoriented the drive along the longitudinal axis of the structure.
I think that's one of the most interesting barns
Yeah.
we have, and the whole complex, because it tells the whole story.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Maureen, can you repeat that? English barn converted to
A New England barn.
the barn?
So
Okay.
the entrance was taken from the long side and put into the gable end and reoriented longitudinally. And to make it a central passage, they added a lean-to like bay so that there would be a bay on each side of the central passage. And I don't know when that was done. I looked at it many, many, many years ago, and I don't remember exactly what the framing of the addition was like.
And there are actually, today I was driving around picking kids up from camp, and I pass many barns on my way back and forth that are still standing. So I'm going to add those to the list as well, because I'm thinking of 3 just off the top of my head that I saw today. Yeah, so I guess the top priority right now would just be to get to, what barns are still standing, or what barns are not standing anymore. And maybe, again, if we're looking to sort of streamline the process, rather than, photographing or re-photographing every barn, once we get a list of what's up and what's down, maybe picking a selection of some of the more interesting barns to photograph as examples, and then maybe some of the more prosaic ones, like a handful of your sort of just very basic, nothing fancy type barn to do that. And that'll cut down on the effort, but we'll still get the information we need regarding what's still standing.
You know what, to save you some work, can you put this spreadsheet up on a Google Docs, and we can just enter directly into that so you don't have to do the merge. And if we enter them in our color that you've assigned to us, that then all you have to do is just change the color on all of them to a single color.
Does everyone have access to Google Docs?
I don't think I do, Kristen. Myron will be amused because I'm among the computer illiterate here, and I don't do Dropbox, and I'm not sure I have Google Docs.
Do you have
might-
Microsoft?
Let's do this.
Do you use Gmail?
I use Gmail.
Then you have access to Google Docs.
Thanks, Myron.
All right, let
Do
me
I know how to access is the other question. How about you, Harold? Do you access Google Docs?
I'm not sure. I don't use Gmail.
Okay, well
I
maybe
use
this won't work.
Yahoo.
Then that won't work.
Well, then what I'll do is I'll do this. I will post this spreadsheet to Google Docs so those among us who are comfortable using that can
Send an
enter the
invitation. Yeah, send an invitation to us all.
invitation.
Yes.
And for those
And I'll check in with Jock too, to
And
see
for-
if,
who are
I
less
would-
comfortable with that format, just send me your information and I'll enter that. That way there's a couple different avenues for getting it in there and not being duplicative about it.
you're very
the-
kind, Kristen. Thank you.
The list of unassigned barns. I think the last page has a lot of them on 169. I was sort of thinking about making a run up 169, so I could work on the last page of the unassigned.
Is
Okay,
that the full page or the partial page?
I think it's a partial page. I didn't print out the unassigned.
Second half of the page is all Route 169.
Yeah. And I think there's some also on Center Road, so we could probably do those too.
okay.
But I think it's a good idea putting it on Google Docs and entering them ourselves and with using our color, and then Kristen can check and make sure that we haven't screwed up anything on the spreadsheet.
And I will continue. I started doing it today, tracking down the owners. And I'll continue to chip away at that because it's fairly easy. It's just, typing in the address. And I'll continue to fill that information in on the master spreadsheet. So so when we get to the point where we want to notify people, if we want to go down that road, we'll have all that information available to us.
So Kristen, with the remaining 2 pages of the unassigned, what are you thinking of that for that? Or what are others thinking of?
I can take those unassigned, the remaining 2 pages, and get my kids out to do that with me.
Okay,
So that would be page 3 and 4.
yeah.
3 and 4 of unassigned. Okay, I will take that.
And Kristen, I will try to get a handle on Google Docs. No promises.
No, it's fine. I don't mind.
I could do the ones on Prospect Street since it's right around the corner from me,
Okay.
right? And Payne District Road, I'll do those 2. And Payne Road, right?
Great. Okay, so that sounds like we've got our assignments for this. And like I said, I'll post it on, as I said, I'll post it on Google Docs. Get me your information as it comes in and I'll just enter it. And then once we get, like we talked about before, once we get everything entered in here, we can, and finishing with the property owners, then we can discuss getting in touch with the Connecticut Trust. I spoke to Stacy Vero. We were out with them Saturday night. She is still a circuit rider with the Trust, and she has some ideas about, you know, posting this information and updating the information through the Trust. So once it's finalized and cleaned up on our end, I can get in touch with her and maybe she can provide us with some good ideas about the best way to broadcast the updated information. But
The Trust has in its files the entire photo documentation that I gave you, which we did using the Trust format with hopes that it would be submitted. But they do have it on file, they just haven't put it online because of our earlier requests.
let me talk to, you know, I'm going to text Stacy tonight and see if she has access to all of that data that she could send to me. It was submitted to them electronically, I assume, or hard copy?
I think it must have been electronically.
Okay.
I'm not 100%, but I think it would have been electronically.
Yeah, let me get in touch with her. And
I
see.
did that with Todd Levine. When he
Okay.
was, running the barn survey.
Okay, so unless anyone has any other comments about this old business or any older business that I've forgotten about, anything else?
New business?
New business?
New business?
Yes.
I do. I think, Kristen, I mentioned to you, I think the idea of Celebrating Ag is going virtual this year, and they are looking for material. In the past, the barn exhibit was, the posters from the barn exhibit were included in Celebrating Ag, and they would have continued had the posters not kind of gotten worn out a little bit. So we discontinued that, but we have a PowerPoint. I talked with Claire Feckety at Department of, you know, USDA, whatever it is, that is involved. And she said that a PowerPoint would be great and they might make it into a video. And I would like to recommend, I'd like to make a motion that we submit the barn exhibition PowerPoint file to Celebrating Ag for use this year online.
Is there a second for that motion?
Myron Stocku, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
I think for the purposes of recording, you should ask if anybody is opposed.
Any opposed, opposition?
Abstentions too.
Sorry. Thanks, Byron, I forgot about the opposition thing. And Jean, this is Kristen. Are you going to submit that?
I would be glad to submit it. I have it on my computer. I hope their computer can receive it. And if not, we'll figure that out. Maybe I'll get the thumb drive back from you and I can handle it.
Oh, I'm all done with it, so I'll bring it up tomorrow.
Okay. We'll see what gives.
Any other new business?
Yes, if I
Oh,
may.
you know what? I'm sorry, Myron, you moved that. I was so involved in the motion. You moved it and
You
who
moved,
sec-
you
Tom,
moved
did you
and I seconded. You moved it,
Jane,
I moved and you seconded.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, new business.
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer, some of you may have heard that the old Newman property was sold.
Hmm.
The whole 208 acres or whatever it is, 200 plus acres. The word is that it was sold to a developer. So I just want us to think ahead a little bit. It would be a terrible shame for the house and the barn behind it to fall victim to whatever might happen
Yeah.
to them. So I wonder if we can start thinking about some way that we can ensure its preservation with the developer. And I imagine we can all start lobbying with the members of the zoning commission that they use the preservation of that house and an acre or two around the house as a bargaining chip for whatever is necessary in response to the developer's plans. And
No.
perhaps even a requirement that a National Register nomination be written for that property.
It is purported to be the oldest house in Woodstock, isn't it?
So, well, allegedly a part of it. I mean, it's on the site of John May's diary of a one-room house that he built there in 1700 whatever, or 1690
Mhm.
whatever. Whether that's part of the existing house is not clear, but it was built as a one-room deep, two-story house with a center chimney that then got expanded to a salt box and raised to full 2 stories. So it's got quite the history to it. And the barn is a wonderful, big, huge New England barn that's got a hardwood floor, and it's just turned into a wonderful, enjoyable space by I don't know if the Newmans did that or who did that. But at any rate, and Muddy Brook runs through most of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can be certain that there is an endless series of prehistoric sites on that property.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot that we need to be concerned about with what happens there.
No.
This property, Myron, this is Kristen.
It's the property of that belonged to the Newmans, Neumann. The number is, wait.
On Roseland Park Road.
On Roseland Park Road. Let me look at the spreadsheet because it's there. Or is it Dug Hill Road? Dug Hill Road.
Oh, it's Dug Hill?
Yeah. Newman's, it's 137 Dug Hill Road. No, that's Peckham. Wait a minute. Newman is 112 Dug Hill Road. And it was owned by their son and by the inheritors of that. It was bequeathed to them, and they, as a group, just sold it. It's been on the market for several years.
the good news, perhaps, that we heard from Matt Peckham, who haves our fields as he has done for the Newmans, is that the new owner is going to continue haying the fields with Matt, and wants, his main interest is in the backwoods country to use for hunting.
Oh, it's a single family owner?
Well, he's a developer, but that is the little glimmer of, I thought that was at least nice to hear for the moment.
Okay. Well, I think we should be vigilant
I agree.
at the minimum. We should be vigilant of what happens there. And maybe we should think of a strategy of once that person becomes established, requesting if they would be interested in putting some sort of historic preservation easement on the property, whether it's an NR or it's an actual easement,
Mm-hmm.
or a historic property, and or all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And it could possibly be preserved as agricultural land.
Right, right.
So it's-
the guy got it for a real steal. If he also sells the development rights, he'll virtually have it for free.
Do you know the selling price, Myron?
I heard it was $600,000, down
Whoa.
from 1.3 million.
Whoa. Whoa. Wow.
I don't know that that should go in our minutes, though. Although it's in the audio minutes, so.
I'm not going to put that in the minutes, right? But I will put in that you are concerned about the property and potential protections for the property in the future, including National Register and historic property and an easement and so forth, if the owners are interested, and perhaps as a bargaining chip for planning and zoning if there is to be development.
Yes.
Well, there also may be, I mean, I don't know the extent, this is Kristen, there's wetlands on the back of that property. I'm looking at the parcel map now. There's two parcels. There's the four acre sort of residential core, and then 168 acres, which is the big parcel in the back. There's Muddy Brook runs, two branches are running right through it.
Yeah.
There's a wetland in the back. There may be some sort of, if there's going to be a development there may be some sort of SEPA overview for all of that, which is another avenue that we can look at in terms of historic preservation.
Yeah, yeah. So there's ways we can start thinking. Let's start thinking about all the ways we can, if necessary, that we can come into the process.
It would be nice to work with the new owner if that owner is interested.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Maybe a nice letter to them, welcoming them to Woodstock and praising the historic character and quality of the building and the property and the many resources that we believe are located upon that property.
Okay, so is there any other new business?
Just one more thing on that, Kristen. Maybe, would it be possible for you to check through the SHPO's office whether there's any archaeological survey or potential that was ever done along that
Sure.
in Muddy
Yeah.
Brook of known sites?
Well, there's the Basto site,
Well, that's way at the other end.
but that's all part of Muddy Brook, and that all speaks to the sensitivity of the parcel
Yeah.
with the wetlands. But I will check.
Yeah.
I'll check the SHPO files and see what it looks like for there.
And at the East Woodstock Falls, the dam there, just below it, up on a little knoll, I wandered around there a few years back and found a whole bunch of quartz flakes.
Yeah.
And that, so at the falls, that would have been for fish perhaps or something, a camp. So
Okay.
it's there, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, it's Maybrook and Muddy Brook, it looks like, flowing through there. Huh, there's a lot of stuff. All right, I will check on that.
Okay.
Anything else? Do I have, if we're all set, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second,
Second.
Myron?
So we will adjourn at 6:40. Any opposed? Opposed? No? So moved, we are adjourning at 6:45 p.m.